Hello everyone. I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth, and I, along with our town board, are proud to present At Home with North Hempstead, a series of special programs for children, seniors, as well as entertainment for residents of all ages. I hope you enjoyed this special presentation and check back often for new content.
Welcome to the Cooking Lab. I am Chef Matt, and to celebrate Thanksgiving today, we are going to make mini individual apple tart. This is a very nice recipe, very easy to make. We are going to use, so here are the ingredients. We're going to use puff pastry, so you can either do your own or for the occasion. But otherwise, you can find puff pastry in the frozen aisle of your grocery store. You are going to need apples, of course, so I'm sure you will have a lot of leftover apples at home. We are going to make an applesauce, so have enough apples. Here I cut about 3 apples. I'm using Fuji apples. They are sweet. We are going to cook them. That should be just right for that recipe. And you will need also some other apples to decorate your apple tart. So for the applesauce, 3 apples. We are going to use about 2 tablespoons of sugar, a little bit like a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon. This is optional. If you don't like cinnamon in your applesauce, do not put it. And a little bit, just a tiny bit of water, about 50 milliliter. That will just help cook. So use a medium pan, okay? So we'll mix everything. We are going to cover it, okay? Cook for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to check it out. We are going to mix it, and we want to evaporate. We are going to cook an extra 10 to 15 minutes until all the liquid is evaporate. Maybe we have to adjust the temperature, but this is really an easy part. We are going to have at the end, once we are cooking everything, we are going to need an egg wash, so a little bit of water. We are going to use the yolk of an egg and have a little brush if you can. But very important is you will need some parchment paper. Parchment paper, scissors. We are going to make to draw our circles to make our mini tart. It's going to be a lot of fun. And for the applesauce, eventually, if you have a masher, that will work. If you want it extra thin, I'm going to use an emergent blender. But if you don't have that, don't worry about it. It will be just good enough. The applesauce is just to coat the bottom of the tart. So let's start. I'm going to put my apples in my pan. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar like this. I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon because I just like the cinnamon. We're going to add a little bit, just like I said, just a tiny bit of water. We are going to mix this, put it on medium, and let's cook it. So don't forget, 10-15 minutes, cover, and then we uncover in about 10-15 minutes. So while the applesauce is cooking, we are going to prepare our little mini individual tart. So this is what you will need. You have the baking tray on which you are going to cook the tart. Make sure you preheat your oven at 400 degrees. And we are going to use the parchment paper. Now, we want to have nice circles, okay? So you can use any kind of circle that will decide the size of your tart, okay? I happen to have a circle like this, and I'm using this this dough. I should be able to make 4 little tartlets on each. So I'm gonna use a little blade, and I'm gonna just shape, my little tart. So let's see. Just make sure you do the print. I'm gonna cut outside. Again, this is the size that I have. You can use any size. If you wanted to make one bigger one, you can always do that. Okay? And the last one. Okay. So now I have my 4 individual circle. Very delicately, I'll take them away. Tac, tac, tac. Et voilà. Maybe I could make, with this, I'm going to try to make a 5th one, okay? Let's focus on these little circles. Now, you can do 2 things. Either you can put all the tart on the same baking sheet, but what I do recommend is to actually do individual little circles for the parchment paper, because if one cooks faster than another one, you are going to be in trouble. And at least you can remove the entire thing, okay? So the way you do it, well, you have to have a circle a little larger, correct? So I'm going to use this bowl. It's just a little bit larger. And all I have to do is a little circle. So I'm going to put my circle right there. All right. Tack. And with a pencil, I'm going to do my circle. Then I'm going to fold this in 4 pieces. Just make sure. And then with some scissors, I'm simply going to cut along. So like that, I don't have to do that 4 times. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, you know. Anyway, so now I'm just going to place my 4 little circles parchment paper. Gently, I'm going to put my tarts my dough right in the center. And all we have to do now is basically cut the apples. Okay, we're going to, so this is ready. We're going to cut our apples as thin as we can. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that to you. Let's check on our applesauce. So we're going to check this out. Look at this. Beautiful. They start reducing. We are sure they are not sticking to the bottom. We just give it a nice twist. And we're going to keep it cooking for another 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, or unless the juice is completely out. So our applesauce is ready. It's very soft. You can tell right now. But basically, I'm going to take my emerging blender and very quickly, just a little, and that allows me to have it very, very thin, okay? So the idea is to really have a sauce. Okay, perfect. The idea is to really have a sauce, so the bottom of your tart is nice and smooth. Okay, even if you have a little piece, that's okay. Okay, but this is what we want. Now I'm going to spread it around the bowl because I need this applesauce to really cool down before I am using it. Now let's cut these apples. So the way you cut an apple, you are going to first peel it. So the way you peel it, you get rid of the top, you just twist the top like this. Then using a peeler, you just go on top like this, then you bring it down, do another circle. So you have this kind of little shape. And all you have to do is basically peel the rest all around. And if there is a little piece of skin left, it's an easy fix. Okay, like this. Up, done. Okay, so now, by the way, in the applesauce, this is great if you can use the peel, but then you need a special thing to get rid of the peel. But with the peel, it's even more delicious. So anyway, I'm going to cut my apple in half, okay? And then I'm going to cut it in quarter, okay? Now, I'm going to tilt my apple just a tiny bit, and I'm just going to put my blade like this, okay? And now I have a nice quarter apple, okay? For our recipe, a quarter apple, you know what, should be just fine. Just make sure you remove that little, the center, because this is crunchy, this is not very pleasant when it's cooking. And the way we are going to cook it, we are going to cook it to cut it so thin that this tart will be cooked, the apple will be cooked, by the time this dough is cooked, the apple will be cooked also. So just make sure you have it all clean. Now, how thin are we talking about? I'm talking about paper thin, okay? So using this part of your blade, you are just simply going to cut it. Try to have, I'm talking like paper thin, like this, okay? Very, very thin. Very thin. And like I told you, maybe a quarter of an apple would be just good to do one tart, okay? So you're gonna cut them all. And then as soon as your applesauce is cool, we are going to top and decorate our apple tart. Now you have to work pretty quickly because otherwise the apple is going to start turning brown. So if this is the case, all you have to do is put a little bit of lemon juice and everything will be fine. So let's start with this. I'm gonna grab my applesauce. Hopla. And this is what you want. Just a little bit of applesauce, okay, in the center. Now, we don't want to put any kind of thing outside of the pie. Why? Because it's a puff pastry and we want the puff pastry to puff, okay? So just make sure, very gently, that you leave, you see that little space? I give about, what is it, a quarter inch maybe? And you very gently, very delicately, you see I'm spreading my applesauce all around like this. Need a little more. All a little around like this. Voilà. Have a nice bed, okay, of applesauce. Do it for all of them. So this little tart is going to be full of flavor and very of season with the autumn season. The color will be there. This will be not only pretty, but delicious. Just take your time. It's very important that the outside stays clean, okay? That all this outside stays nice and clean, because we want it to puff. If you have some weight on it, it's not going to puff. So just make sure you take your time. It's worth taking your time. And you work too hard so far not to make this tart beautiful. Et voilà. So we're there, and now all we have to do is, you see I have a little piece here, it's a little thick. I'm going to replace it with some sauce. Ah. So you see my sauce is not too liquid either. Huh? It's kind of solid because you want it to stay like that in shape. Now, I'm going to grab my apples and basically, okay, I'm going to start going. So again, I don't want anything over. And like a little fan, I'm going to go around like this. Okay? I'm going to go around. And this is why it's important to have it as thin as you can. And you make this nice little fan. You can gently push it like that. And all you will have to do at the end, once you're done with everything, is we are going to spread a little bit of sugar and a little bit of cinnamon. So let's grab a little bit. I have a little spoon, but basically you should even use a finger. You don't want to put too much, okay? Just a little sprinkle like this on top is going to just give it a nice little, little crispiness and caramelization. Just a tiny bit. Again, this is optional. It's just really for the color. Just a tiny bit like this. So do them all, and then we are going to put them in the oven for about 12 minutes, okay? But first, we'll do the egg wash. All right, so I'm done. I sprinkle a little sugar everywhere. Again, you make sure the outside is nice and clean. Now, I'm going to do the egg wash. So what I do, an egg yolk, about a tablespoon of cold water, okay? You mix with a little brush. You are going to just make sure this is nice and mixed. And very lightly, we are going to color the outside of the tart. Why? First, it's going to give a beautiful golden, nice, beautiful golden color, okay? But second, is going to tell you, hey, I'm cooked. So what happens is, if your dough, after 12 minutes, you're gonna start checking it. If you see that the dough seems still very pale, that means it's not cooked. But if you start seeing a nice golden brown color, well, guess what? That means that's it. Your apple tart is ready. So again, your oven, 400 degrees. Make sure it's nice and hot. And you will have a beautiful dessert. You do not have to egg wash the top. Just leave it like that. It's just the dough that you want to brush nicely. All right? Et voila. So I'm putting this in the oven and let's see how these guys look. Et voila. Fresh from the oven. I had to leave them 2 extra minutes, but always best to check at 12 minutes to see how it looks like, because maybe your oven at 12 minutes they are ready. So now, very delicately, all you have to do, usually they should not stick, but watch out, it's going to be a little hot, okay? So use it a little spatula like this. I'm just going to make them loose, up, and gently transfer to a plate. Et voila! All you have to do, a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and we are in heaven. If you want even to make it a little nicer, you can always spread a little bit of confectioner sugar, but the ice cream will do the right thing. From the Cooking Lab, happy Thanksgiving, and I hope to cook with you very, very soon.